Hello and welcome to the Desert Tiger Podcast. I am your host here on the show. My name is Colton G, and here on today's episode of the DTP, I am joined by Sanjay Seran, lead singer of Dehli to Dublin, as we discuss the group's upcoming album, We Got This. Of course, before I go ahead and do that, I want to take a quick moment to shout out those of you among the DTP audience who have listened to last week's episode, who have taken that moment to check out my conversation with Jeff Burrows, the drummer of the Tea Party. I had a great time talking to Jeff, and I got a lot of positive feedback about that episode, especially about the 2 EPs that they have planned for release in the future. If you missed that episode or those details, you can of course find that episode in the DTP backlog, as well as 65 other great conversations with talented, motivated individuals that I am sure that you will love. And of course, I want to take another quick moment to shout out ilovedtp.com, because that is how you guys get yourself the latest Desert Tiger Podcast merch so that you can rep the show and your love for it everywhere that you go. Alright. Dehli to Dublin have built a solid reputation for good vibes and great dance music since the release of their self-titled debut album in 2007. Sanjay Seran and the rest of Dehli to Dublin have always carried a positive message with their music. But with their upcoming 2019 release, We Got This, the group has shifted that message to the forefront of their songs. Teaming with certified hit songmaker Gavin Brown, yes, the same Gavin Brown that you heard about in my conversation with Monster Truck, Dehli to Dublin has evolved their songwriting to a level that they feel is truly special. Taking steps away from the West Coast bass-driven sound that they've been known for, We Got This has a strong pop influence that still holds the key elements that have always connected Dehli to Dublin to their audience. Their messages of acceptance, friendship, culture, good times, and love still ring stronger than ever. With songs like Home and My People, which you're going to hear later on in this episode, the group strives to prove that no matter the background, beautiful souls light up the world wherever they are. Sanjay Seran joins the Desert Tiger Podcast today to discuss Dehli to Dublin's upcoming album, We Got This. It actually releases the day after this episode comes out. So if you're listening to this episode any day other than the 16th of May 2019, We Got This is already out, but that is okay, because you still want to know all the juicy details about what went into crafting this album, all the hard work, the long process that went into making this, because there's been a 4-year break in between albums here for Dehli to Dublin, and they really wanted to put their heart and soul into this album to make sure that they captured the spirit of the people and the energy that they have experienced with all their travels worldwide. And I hope that you're going to get that feeling from Sanjay himself in my conversation with him today. And I hope that you're also going to get that vibe as we are about to play you one of the tracks that we mentioned earlier, one of the tracks off of this upcoming album, We Got This, that sees Dehli to Dublin taking brave new steps forward into making sure that their voice rings further and more powerfully than ever. This song is called My People.
Oh, we got that good feeling, and we pass that vibe around. Oh, we gotta elevate each other. It's coming up from the ground. Oh, we are in the streets, we are in the air. My people are everywhere. Listen to the drum beat hands in the air. My people are everywhere. Like we do it in Bombay, like we do it in LA. I'm giving up my life, it's a party every day. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. We are in the streets, we are in the air. Listen to the drum beat, hands in the air. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, turn it up. We got love connection, and we turn it up so loud. Never wanna turn it down, never wanna turn it down. We are in the streets, we are in the air. My people are everywhere. Listen to the drum beat, hands in the air. My people are everywhere. Like we do it in Bombay, like we do it in LA. I'm giving up my life, it's a party every day. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. We are in the streets, we are in the air. Listen to the drum beat, hands in the air. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. I just lay back and breathe, and I get all I need. You're just the same as me, and everyone can feel. I just lay back and breathe, and I get all I need. You're just the same as me, and everyone can feel. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. We are in the streets, we are in the air. Listen to the drum beat, hands in the air. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere. We are in the streets, we are in the air. Listen to the drum beat, hands in the air. My people, my people, my people, my people, my people are everywhere.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
We are here with Sanjay from Delhi to Dublin. They are currently about to release their next album, We Got This. It actually comes out tomorrow as of when this episode drops. So how is it going today, Sanjay? How is the hype leading up to the release of the new album?
Well, I mean, it's funny. There was a lot of hype. We were just in Toronto for Canadian Music Week. So we were in the hype. We're like, yeah, we're releasing an album, doing a bunch of press. And it's funny because right now I'm sitting in the West Coast, in the rain of Galliano Island right now. It's a really nice rainy spring day, really opposite of what it was like in Toronto. So it's almost like, oh yeah, our album is coming out. I've kind of forgotten, but not really, man. I've been working on this album for a couple of years. So yeah, I'm stoked. When a release happens, it's a thing. Like, if you're giving birth to this being that's going to live on forever without now, and once it's released, it's no longer anything to do with us. It'll have a life of its own. It'll have relationships with our audience of its own, all outside of what we are and what we have control over. So it's always interesting. But I guess we've done a few releases now where it's like, okay, it's going to get released, and then it just takes time. It's going to live on, and it's going to do its thing, and it's really great to watch the growth of what's going to happen. I think that's more exciting for me than the actual release date, because, I mean, honestly, it's not like a Michael Jackson album coming out, or I guess that's, it's not a huge pop album from the 80s where people would line up to get it. It's like, it's going to be fully available on all platforms, so I feel like the release date itself is not as important as what will happen in the coming months, and how it'll grow, and how it will, and what the audience reactions will be, and all that sort of thing is the really exciting part for me. Like, to watch this album become a toddler and then a child and then an adult, you know, like that whole growth cycle.
Definitely. And especially listening to this album and hearing all of the emotions and the intention that is put behind it, it's got to be exciting to see what the fans and the world are going to interpret the songs, because of course you have your own meaning to it, but what is it going to mean to them?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like, that's what we watch. That's the exciting part, to watch what it's going to mean to people. Yes, we definitely put, like, you know, our intention behind the album, and the album is full of, I feel we did a good job of expressing a lot of positivity in terms of banding together, coming together to move forward through a time that's kind of really messed up. Like, it's like one of the most messed up times in history, you know, right now. And maybe it's always been messed up time in history, you know, and it's just like, and music has always been there. And I think we did that this time, and we did a good job of, you know, putting this record together where it's like, okay, like, we can be okay, we can see the good in things, and it takes dark for light to exist, you know, so that kind of sentiment is there and exciting.
Well, definitely. And it's not to say that, like, things are so much more worse than they were 20 years ago. It's just, it's much more apparent in...
Right, and also, sorry to interrupt you, but, like, also much more, like, maybe almost inflated, because I really feel we flock to negativity. Negativity is, like, people love to talk trash about people. People like to gossip. People like to read up on all the bad things that are happening, because I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure. I don't understand the human psyche there and what it does. Like, it almost makes it feel like it's all good. Like, we can grumble and complain, and it's almost like it's easier just to be positive and focus on the good and then move forward towards that. And then if, you know, and if energy can shift there, that's an amazing thing. So, yeah, you're right. Like, it is maybe more apparent, and with social media and everything, with it at our fingertips, we are able to see all the bad things that are happening all the time. Whereas in the past, you know, you'd have to read the paper for that, or you have to watch the news at 6 o'clock or something to get that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the day doesn't necessarily have to be, you're not bombarded with messages of negativity. Not to say that there isn't a lot of positivity out there, but I just feel like people are drawn to that negative thing. And I am too. Like, everyone, it's I don't know what it is, right? So it's there. And so to create these, the more people out there focusing on the good and moving towards the good, I think is a good thing.
Oh, I 100% agree. And it's true, because, and it's hard to avoid, because you might not even, like, purposely be trying to look for the negative thing, but that could be the first thing that pops up as soon as you open your app or something else. Is that could be, like, the top news story is probably going to be something negative. And where, like you said, like, you wouldn't get that news until the next day's paper or the 6 o'clock news. And now it's just like, it's right there, instant.
And unfortunately, people are checking their phones, like, first thing. Like, they wake up and there's no morning routine. It's like, check your phone, check Instagram. It's like, man, I don't know if that's a good thing to be doing. Well, I don't think it's a good thing to be doing. And, yeah, like, I also, you know, I remember when I was a kid and I used to watch, like, the news, or my dad would be watching the news, and I remember, we grew up in a suburb of Vancouver, so it's like we would be watching, like, Tony Parsons or whatever, and, like, there was this guy. There was a segment, and I don't remember his name, but it would always be at the end of the news hour, and it was always, like, the one really positive story about, like, some kid who lost a basketball and someone found it and brought it to them, or, like, some little good thing that happened in the community, and you're like, why? You know, like, I guess that's not, you know, it's news, but, like, why is good news never as good as bad news, right? So, like, I used to like those little stories, and it was unfortunate that it was like a 2-minute segment that was always at the end of the hour. I thought it was always great. I forgot what that guy's name was. He was awesome.
Yeah, just trying to leave you off with a positive note after hitting you with all of the bad news of the day.
Yeah, sorry, humans, we're stupid and killing each other. We've been talking about that for an hour. Oh, and by the way, this really good thing happened. You're like, oh, man.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that this album has been a few years in building. Your last album was actually in 2015, We're All Desi. So what has the process been like for crafting We Got This?
Okay, so we went into it as we normally would. Start writing songs, right? Like, okay, hey, we should probably start getting an album together because by the time we finish it, it's going to be a few years. So start writing songs in the vein of Dehli to Dublin, where our background is electronic music. We're All Desi was a definitely very electronic album. That album was produced by Nick Middleton of the Funk Hunters. So it had that West Coast ghetto funk feel all over it. And then so we were like, okay, that album's come out. Let's start writing some songs. And in Dehli to Dublin vein, it was, dance songs, party tracks, feel-good vibes, generally. And then as we got closer and closer to, as time went on, then, you start to meet, you're writing with different people, writing sessions happen. And then we met, we were introduced to Gavin Brown. Gavin is a crazy hit-making producer who we initially set out to write maybe one or two songs with. So our management hooked that up. We were meeting up to write one or two songs. We're like, okay, we need to up our game. Let's put out one or two songs that will live in the pop world, or try to move more towards the pop world and really get our message out to more people and see what we can do. Because we were honestly kind of a little bit tired of where and what we've done in terms of, it was almost like we've reached like a glass ceiling for a band like us, and there was like not much more we could do. So we actually had a conversation about it. We played a festival up in Juneau, Alaska, and we were playing a state fair up there, and we were we each had a yurt overlooking a river and a old glacier. It was amazing. I think the glacier was something like 13,000 years old. Beautiful, beautiful scenery, and we're sitting there in a yurt having a meeting about what we want to do, and we each, the three owners of the band, me, Ruv, and T, were like, well, we feel we've basically done everything we can do, and we want to move forward. We want to take this to the next level, or learn something different, or experience something different, so that it's still exciting for us. Otherwise, let's call it a day and move on, because we've basically done everything. And that's where the idea of writing, like, let's really get one or two songs in that next world. So meeting Gavin, talking to him, was awesome, because he's done this so many times. He's worked with Metric, he's worked with 5440, he's worked with Tragically Hip, the Bare Naked Ladies, like Junos and Grammys and all kinds of stuff. So this guy's like, he knows what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
And you have to trust someone like this because they've seen it. And what he was able to do with us was really explain to us what we are from an outsider, where you inside you're too in it, and you have your own perception of what you are and what you think you want to be. And he was like, look, guys, this is what you are. Like, I see it in your music, I see it in your message, I see it in your vibe, I see it in everything. So let's embrace what you are. And that's what Dehli to Dublin is our vibe is positive. Our shows are crazy energy with a lot of positive vibe, and that's not just coming from us. It's like it just builds with the audience. And he's like, let's write an album. He didn't, at first, like, let's write a song that has that vibe and present it in a way that's global. Like, it's way bigger than anything you guys are. And the comparison was made to, like, why you guys should be living in the world of Bob Marley, because that's what your message has always been. Granted, in the past, a lot of the lyrics have been in Punjabi, so, people may not even know what we are singing about or whatever. And it was great to hear it from Gavin and be like, listen, man, like, and we were almost in denial, like, well, we're an electronic act. We're an underground electronic. We want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
For what reason? I don't know. Like, we think maybe that's cooler or not. I don't know. And he was really awesome about explaining how awesome pop music is. And we're like, yeah, we love pop music. And it's like, this is the way to reach as many people as you possibly can. We're like, okay, we get it. We understand. This is actually really cool, because I think it just gets a bad rap a lot of times. You're like, oh, pop music. Like, what does that even mean? It doesn't even mean anything. It means popular music, like.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an awesome experience to come across someone who has such a positive energy towards music and a positive vibe towards writing. And basically, after we had a terrible writing session with him, we wrote two really bad songs and had a really good time. we decided to go back because we're like, let's give this another chance. And we did, and the result was the song My People that just came out recently, the second single off the album. And then at that point, the band decided that this is awesome. We're having fun. This is new experiences. Let's write the whole album. And that's when it was like the start happened. So at this point, we've probably written, I don't know, like 30 songs already. And then we went in with some, and we wrote some new ones and really honed in on what the message was. What are we trying to say? And we wrote a whole album around that, and brought in a couple of other tracks that we had already worked with other producers like Conrad Old Money with, and brought that to the table, and really presented the package like this. So it's like, okay, there's this message of unity, getting through it, banding together. And then there's some party tracks like Wobble and that sort of thing where, feel-good stuff that's just in the Dehli to Dublin world anyway. But, like, yeah, it was a long process. A lot of songs written, and then finally, we kind of came to a place where, like, this is what needs to be done. And then we were able to actually write the album.
Besides allowing you to see what the band actually could be, what else did Gavin bring to the songwriting process for the album? You guys have done like some pop-styled stuff before, but the sounds on this album definitely take a departure from the West Coast-based style of the previous efforts.
The West Coast bass thing is amazing, especially for us who live in the West Coast. And you'll find that if you go and travel to other places, it doesn't always resonate with people because they're just not West Coasters, like the West is different. And so, but a good song will resonate with everybody. So instead of, like, for a lack of a better word, hiding behind the bass production, we relaxed on that side of things and allowed the song to shine through, and that's what Gavin really brought. And he brings a wealth of knowledge. He's just done it so much with and had so much success. That's with someone who's had that kind of success is not scared, isn't pensive, and is willing to just move forward and understand and has a sense of understanding that we just didn't have. And that's what a great producer is. And he's a great producer. And he also introduced us to Maya Davies, who we wrote a bunch of songs with. She was signed to him, and so she was in the session. So it would be, me, myself, T, and Maya writing these songs there with Gavin. And Ruv was there sometimes too, and it was awesome. It was a really great, just a good, positive vibe and environment to be in.
Okay, well, yeah, he is a certified hit maker across various genres.
Yeah, like he's got the longest running number one Christian song in the U.S. right now. I think maybe still. Like it was something like it was number one for like 360 days or something like that. Like some crazy records broken, and I'm like, he's far from like a really good Christian, but to him, he doesn't box himself in. He's like, it's music. Mm-hmm. The message is the message, and music is music, and he's able to transcend any of that kind of those kind of labels.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's it. Is he was a big part of 2 of the nominees for Juno Rock Album of the Year for this previous year as well. So basically, to say he helped, even though you guys always did have a positive message, he helped you guys focus more on the message first and less from the beat first.
Yes, 100%, and more on the song, more importantly than anything, like the delivery, the song, than the beats. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's talk about that latest single that you mentioned, My People. What exactly does it mean to you? I mean, listening to the song, I can definitely get a vibe, but please explain it for yourself.
I mean, the joke would be like, oh yeah, my people are everywhere, like Punjabi people walking around everywhere. But it's not. It's not that. It's not as literal as that. It is more like we tour a lot. We've seen a lot of things, and we spend a lot of time in the U.S. And when you, it's very easy again, like to get lost in that negativity about what the media is presenting and what you feel is out there. We have been down there and come across some not cool things. Stuff has been said to us, and we've been made to feel uncomfortable. I've had, someone, like, right after Trump came in, I remember being in California, and this, like, person just, like, crossed the road and looked at us and just started, like, yelling, and it was, like, just anger, and I was like, whoa, like, I don't even know what this is about. Like, is this about Trump, or are you just an angry person, or what? Like, but the reality is, I mean, even when we're in the Midwest, in the down south, like in Arkansas or whatever, we come across people who are awesome. And that's what that song is about. It's about all the awesome people that are actually out there. And those are our people. Those are the people fighting the good fight. Those are the people who are just amazing in pockets of wonderful people where you think there might not be because of what the media might portray or whatever, And, like, this is like when, 3 brown guys on a stage with a dole drum and bhangra beats to an audience that is all, like, majority white in the Midwest, you would think that wouldn't go well. And it's not like that. That's not the reality. Like, the truth is there is bad things happening, but there's amazing people down there as well. And that's my people. Those are our people. That's like a salute to them. Thank you for being awesome. And, I think the more you focus on how good everybody really is, it's like they deserve props too.
It's beautiful. I love the message.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, Sanjay, to discuss the new album, We Got This, which drops May 17th. I can't wait to hear it all for myself.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
I am the son of an immigrant. No way I'm irrelevant. Who are you? I am the daughter of an outcast. They wanted me to finish last. Who are you? If you could look me in the eyes, look me in the eyes, you'd feel it, you'd feel it. If you could see it through my eyes, see it through my eyes, you'd believe it, believe it. I've come so far.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Dehli to Dublin's new album, We Got This, releases worldwide on all platforms this May, the 17th of 2019, which means if you are listening to this episode any day after that date, that album is already out. You can already get your hands on it on your Spotify, on your Apple Music, on your Google Play Music, in your iTunes library, wherever it is that you buy or stream your music. You are going to be able to find this album if you are listening to this episode on Thursday. You can go ahead and pre-save the album. Head on over to the Dehli to Dublin social media pages or even their website. Very, very easy. Just Dehli to, like the number, Dublin.com, and you will find out all the information you need to know about that. I want to take a moment to thank Sanjay Seran for joining me here on this episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast and for sharing with me and you guys, the audience here of the DTP, just exactly what this album means to them. I am hoping for very, very big things for this album. I got to listen to it beforehand, and I am very excited for this group. This album is very powerful. It has a great message behind it, and I'm hoping that you guys feel the same way. I want to go ahead and thank Strut Entertainment. That's right. Why Colton 3 weeks in a row? That's right. Strut Entertainment has been knocking the ball out of the park for me here in the month of May. We have been doing some really, really great things together. Of course, they also helped me bring you last week's episode, which featured Jeff Burrows. And the week before that, they helped me bring you Australian songwriter Kim Churchill. And I can't wait to work with Melissa and the team over at Strut Entertainment. Some more great, great people. And that's just all I have to say about them. Only good things to say about them. And of course, I have to go ahead and thank you guys, the listeners here of the Desert Tiger Podcast, for tuning in to this episode. Of course, if you want to go ahead and share this episode on any of your social medias, that would be beautiful. I would love you so very much if you went ahead and did that. And if you want to take that one extra step further in supporting the show, of course, you know that is ilovedtp.com, because that is where you get the shirts, it's where you get the hats, it's where you rep the show everywhere you go, and you let your friends, your family, and your enemies know how much you love the DTP. Oh yeah. Alright, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Next week on the show, I am joined by a few of the members of the Apollo Sons. The Apollo Sons have actually recently been nominated for a 2019 Western Canadian Music Award, so I am going to get the entire scoop on just what that means to them. So I hope that you guys are ready to tune in. I'm actually about to jump in the truck right after I finish recording this to head to meet with the Apollo Sons to record that episode. That's right, the grind always continues. So until next week, I hope that you guys are able to enjoy some sun, a nice beautiful day, whatever it is that makes your heart sing. I hope that you find it. All right, have yourself a beautiful day.